So I'm working on completing every South Park game, and in my last video I got all of the platinum trophies. So now today I'll be going back to get every achievement in the 2 Xbox 360 arcade games that are actually delisted now. But luckily I still have them. So to start off, let's jump into South Park Let's Go Tower Defense Play. What a name.
This is our town. A peaceful, humble place in the mountains of Colorado. But nah, our town is under attack by horrible, deadly beings, and I'm the only one who seems to know. If they reach the town center, we're all dead. We cannot let them do that. We must protect our town.
So as the name states, this is a tower defense game, and to start off we'll be playing on casual to go through the 11 level campaign, with the first level being Now this game starts off pretty simple, with only one type of tower we can place so far, but we can also use each of the characters to throw snowballs and damage the enemies as well. And in the bottom corner here it shows exactly how many enemies are in this wave and how many waves are in this area. But right after defeating the first wave I unlocked a video, which are literally just clips from the show you unlock for completing challenges, but for watching my very first one I also got my first achievement. Couch potato. Now another move we have is our special attack. Once this blue bar here fills up, every character does something different, and for using my very first one I get this, Rochambeau. And so the way that these levels work is they each have 2 or 3 different areas, and you have to make it through all of them without losing all of your health along the way, which happens when you let enemies through the end. And once you fully complete the level, the amount of points you get determines your medal, and just for getting my very first one I got this. So then on I went, making my way through level 2, getting a good understanding of the game, and while I'm pretty sure I already had it down, I was able to upgrade my towers and just spawn trap the enemies, making sure not a single one got through. And completing each level will also unlock us a new character, but level 3 takes place at and I'll also get my next 3 achievements here, with the first one being for using this lever to drop a car onto the enemies just like so. White Trasher. Although the second one just came naturally, as it was just for throwing a total of 1,000 snowballs. But at the end of every area, everything you've placed turns back into coins for you to pick up, so you can either bring them into the next round or get extra points at the end. However, the achievement I got was for picking up 100 of them in less than 10 seconds. Space Cash. Now there isn't many achievements in this game. In fact, there's only 12 of them total, so the next one wouldn't be until level 5. Although the game was starting to pick up in difficulty at this point, as there started to be many different entry points for the enemies, making it so I would have to build snow paths to slow them down, as well as learning all the new types of towers I had. And well, as you see here, I actually got my first failure, but I quickly got the hang of making paths, and in the next round I finally got that achievement I was talking about for getting a total of 1,000 coins. So the next few levels actually started adding different mechanics in to make the game harder, such as this ice in level 6, and I would only be able to build on the snow areas here. However, that gave me no trouble at all compared to the next level. Here the enemies come out of the dam, and by now the ones I was defending against had way more health, and since all they had to do was go in a straight line, a bunch of them got through, making it so I lost a bunch of health. And with one more round left, being stuck at 39 health now kind of sucked, and I might have died a few times here. But to make it worse, once I did make it to the end of the round, we have a boss fight against Scott Tenorman. We'll be seeing a lot of him in the next game, but the bosses here just walk right through solo like an absolute tank and have so much health, which basically just resulted in another death. But on the next one I had it set up way better and killed him before he even reached the dam. And so moving on to level 7, we're now at the Great Wall of South Park, and we have a couple new mechanics here, such as a huge snowball rolling by, or even hot sauce being thrown off the wall. And of course we're fighting against the Mongolians.
It's those goddamn Mongolian again!
However, level 9 was a bit crazier, as I had to create all my own paths, and the enemies would have up to 3 different spawns at once, which I'm pretty sure was just preparing us for the next level on the mountain. As here, we'd have to do exactly that, but through 3 different crazy areas. And on top of that, at the end, we'd have to fight Man Bear Pig, which I won't get into yet, as we have to do that on max difficulty at the end for an achievement. But that brings us to the final level of the campaign, which compared to the last one was super easy to run through. I mean, there's a lot of the strongest enemies possible, but that didn't stop me, as I made my way through all 3 areas without letting a single one of them pass, which then brought me to the final boss fight against this guy.
Japanese video game announcer voice!
And well, he got absolutely annihilated by all my towers before he was even halfway through my maze. Oh my god, Kenny's down. You killed Kenny. Come on, couple more hits. There it is. Game completo. And with that, we completed the campaign. And so that means it's now time for the challenge levels, as I'll have to complete 5 of them to get at least a bronze medal on each, which doesn't sound too crazy yet, but after picking my 4 characters, I jumped into the first of them, which was just a very simple pre-built maze where I just had to place towers down and that's it. Although the last of the 9 waves got a bit crazy with so many high health enemies running through at once and a few may have slipped past, but I still beat that one and even got a silver. However, the second challenge was something new, as I wasn't allowed to place any towers, so I would just have to move the characters properly to throw snowballs. And that's the only way I had to take everyone out, which surprisingly was really easy and went by super fast. I even got a gold for it. But now challenge 3 is where I actually struggled a bit. So here everything is covered in snow already and I have no money to build anything, meaning I just had snowballs again and the pre-placed traps that were here. Although when I got kills they dropped money, so I'd have to collect that to try and build towers to stop them. And well, they would just trample through like a Black Friday mob. But my third retry, I just kept spamming snowballs and abilities as much as I could and it actually took the win. But as for number 4, it was just a repeat of the second one, except even easier, and I beat it in 2 minutes. And then the final one was just one giant free-for-all, so I made the most extensive maze I possibly could and just spammed unlimited towers everywhere. And although there was 20 full waves of deadly enemies here, I made sure to upgrade everything and didn't even take a single hit the whole run. And so with that, I beat it on my first try, finally getting my achievement. There it is, ungroundable. Now that leaves us with the 3 hardest achievements left in the game. And for the first 2, I would have to get enough points to get a platinum medal, meaning I would also have to play on the hardest difficulty called Insane, which is definitely a fitting name. I mean, just look at the amount of enemies running through here all at once. And well, from what I looked up, this challenge was the best place for this, although I barely even beat it as I let in a whole wave of homeless people, bringing my health to 25.
I don't have any
And although I did finish it off, I was 1 medal short of the one I needed. But at least I also got this achievement for getting that mirror medal, and so I ran it back again and beat it as fast as I could and also didn't even lose 1 bit of health. Yet I got the exact same medal again. So the goal now on the 3rd run was to be as fast as humanly possible, so I set up all my characters to throw snowballs right at the entrance. And I got my trigger finger ready and just spammed away as fast as I possibly could, not even letting a single enemy pass the halfway point. And once it was over, this happened. Come on, I did that so perfectly. I got every cone on the screen. Please. Yes, it is the platinum medal. Terrence and Philip. Look for treasure. And now it's time for the final and most difficult of all, bringing us back to that man bear pig level where I have to beat the whole thing on insane difficulty without placing a single tower. Only walls and snowballs for me. And well, I tried to build my own path for this twice and both times was a miserable fail, so I ended up looking up the best path to build, which turned out to be something I just genuinely would have never figured out probably. But with that, I just had to spam snowballs at the hardest enemies in the game. And well, the first area went by a little rough, as by the end of it I only had 39 health left to get me through 2 more full rounds. And they're both even harder. Well, with the path I had built, the second round went by pretty quickly actually. It also helped that the enemies weren't as tough here. But that leaves us with 1 round to go with only 39 health and a boss fight at the end of it. And I couldn't finish my snow path in time and died right away because of it. But luckily, since the checkpoint was here, I locked in and rebuilt my contraption of a path as fast as I could. And then I just started chucking snowballs at the enemies repeatedly until Man Bear Pig finally spawned, and it was all down to this. Oh crap, is Man Bear Pig coming already? No way. Oh god. Okay, I have one of my specials. That's good, that's good. Gotta try and get rid of these homeless people before I use that special. Come on. Alright, Pip. This is all up to you, buddy. It doesn't even do anything to Man Bear Pig. Oh god. Come on, everybody throw, throw, throw. Let's go. Come on. Okay, there I go. Half health, half health. Come on, come on. Go, 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 go. Yes, I got this. I totally have this. Come on. Oh yeah, oh that. There we go. Couple more hits. Yes, I do. Man Bear Pig. Let's go. That achievement was really daunting, but that wasn't too bad. So there we go, 100% on South Park Tower Defense. Now I played this a lot when I was younger actually. It's just an awesome and fun tower defense game. I just wish it was still available to buy somewhere. Although the next game we have I've never actually played before until now. And oh boy, it turned out to be quite the grind. Let's get into South Park Tenorman's Revenge.
Gather around, children, and let me tell you a story of bravery and love. It begins long ago with the birth of a child so fair, so pure of heart, he would forever change the face of our world.
So after hearing a backstory that was clearly written by Cartman, we then get into his beef with Scott Tenorman, which brings us to the present where he's done the unthinkable.
He snuck into Eric Cartman's house late at night and totally stole the hard drive out of Cartman's Xbox. Seriously, it was such an uncool thing to do.
And so the whole story of this game is hunting down his hard drive. Although this game actually turned out to be something I never expected. You see, here we have a South Park platformer, and a very confusing one at that, with robot enemies and secret doors and collectibles littered everywhere throughout this 22 level campaign. And in order to get every achievement, I'll have to beat it a minimum of 4 times, all in different ways. But before any of that nonsense, I first had to get used to the game, which when you first look at is a lot to take in. The amount of random hidden areas and secret passages is insane. I had no clue what was happening. I actually used a collectible guide on this first level just so I could understand what I was getting into a bit better. But once I had actually made it to the end and jumped into the portal, it would unlock my very first achievement. 1 down. There we go. First level completed. Now I'm kind of an idiot and didn't notice the unlock level button in the corner here, so I ended up running the first level just a few more times to get some more achievements and start working towards the giant list of tasks I'll have to complete for every single level. And I'll get more into the specifics of those soon, but for now I got an easy achievement for just hosting a multiplayer game, which was actually just my second controller, and I would also have to go through the whole level, which thankfully I could just drop in at the end and wouldn't have to play with both controllers, but finishing in multiplayer for the first time unlocks this. So the things I needed for unlocking my next level are called time cores, and although I had enough to do so, there was also an achievement for getting all of them from a single level, so I wanted to get that out of the way quickly as well. But along the journey to the final one, I also got this for defeating 100 ginger minions. And then once I reached the end, I would get the one I was after, Time Child. Now each character in this game also has a different ability you can use, such as Power Jump with Kenny that gets me an achievement for doing 20 times, or even a Wall Bash with Cartman that gets me this.
I'm not fat, I'm big boned.
And since you can switch between characters as you please, I also got Stands, which is for throwing footballs at switches and unlocking them. And as for Kyle's, I'll get that later. But with that, I started working my way through the next level, just trying to understand this very confusing game some more, which also introduced me to superhero abilities that you can grab and they give you powers for a certain amount of time, such as climbing walls with Cartman or turning into a ghost as Kenny. But my goal on the first run was just to chase down Tenorman and get through this game as fast as I could, which by level 3 brought on a whole new challenge already. As you see, this game has boss fights too apparently, and for this one I would have to hover around the electrical areas dodging his robot punches until he finally hits through and zaps himself, which would have to be done a total of 6 times around this area to bring on the second part, which simply just consisted of taking out all of the enemies and then smacking his hips or whatever these are right off of him. Die, Tenorman, die. And like I said, there's 22 levels here, so of course he escapes for now. But the next level brings us down into the sewers where the platforming starts to get quite a bit harder. And on top of that, I also get introduced to these timed bomb areas that Tenorman places, and I would have to make it across the difficult area and get a crowbar so I can beat it before the timer ran out. Although if it does explode, I just lose one of my lives and I have to redo it over and over. Although I actually got an achievement later in this level, which was for using a superpower to get to a place that you can't usually reach. Boon and friends. However, However, that brings us to Kyle's ability, which lets him shoot out a force field that takes down enemy shields so I can pass on through, and it also gets me an achievement for using it. But this here is actually one of the longer levels, and it ends with a very long ride on the Poochoo train, and I would have to run from the back all the way to the front of the train while fighting through enemies. And well, I accidentally discovered some Mario type glitch where I just ran across the top all the way to the end for a free run out. And after a quick talk with Mr. Hanky, we head to the next level in Pee-Pee's Splash Town, which is a very swift level where a huge P-wave chases us down all the way to the end. We also get the use of these time slowdown things to help us out, but one thing I haven't mentioned yet is all of these time particles we pick up along the way. Each one takes off a single second from the timer, and in order to get gold, you would have to hit a certain negative number. And well, I'll need gold on every single level in the game. But at least I was able to get a couple of them out of the way on my first runs like this one. However, this game brings us through a lot of different places from the show, such as the next level in Tynacorp Labs, where we find Towley and all of the other evil towels we have to fight through. And on my way through these areas, I would finally get access to some new weapons I haven't seen before. And for picking up this gun and now having used every single weapon in the game, I get this. Good times with weapons. But the next boss fight we ended up at was against Man Bear Pig, and to take him out, I would have to dodge his rush attack and then pick up a crate to throw at his head. And I mean, the first two hits I needed were easy, but the third hit here that you need becomes a problem as the window to hit him is very short, resulting in me dying quite a few times. I really struggled with the speedrun here later, but after much trial and error, I had finally gotten that third throw. Thank you, holy shit. Now the next couple levels took place in the dump, although there wasn't too much of significance here except for the fact that once I completed them, I would finally hit the halfway mark in the game, and doing so gets me this. Damn, this game's long, and I still have to replay it like 3 or 4 times. Oh man. So from there, we have 11 levels left to make our way through, and up next is some heaven levels, which definitely upped the platforming quite a bit. Jumping across clouds, and if you fall, well then you're screwed. But it wasn't even close to as painful as the next areas down in hell. This is where the game started to get quite rough for me, especially this timed area. Trying to get through here is actual hell. Trying to get through all these obstacles is just painful. But I mean, nothing as bad as speedrunning it later, that's for sure. However, the last level in hell brings us to our next boss fight against the Antichrist, which is actually a fairly simple one. I would just have to grab some water balloons and make sure to hit every single one of the Christmas critters until I finally would get the chance to spam the Antichrist and take him out. But from there, we just had to make our way through the next levels that take place in the jungles of Peru. Now don't ask me because I don't know how we got here, and I don't think they do either. But these levels didn't have anything too crazy or new, and I mean, at this point I wasn't taking any detours. I was just rushing straight through trying to beat the game, which then brings us to the second last level in the Chili Con Carnival, which has a lot of crazy platforming to get through, including another really painful timed area. But the real struggle is the end here, as we have to take a really long and slow flying boat ride while fighting off waves upon waves of enemies that get increasingly harder. And although there is health every once in a while, if I failed, I would have to redo the whole super slow boat ride over again, which after learning my lesson on that once, I locked in and made sure to not die the next time and got it down on the next run. But with that, we're finally on to the last boss fight of the game to take out Tenorman and get back our hard drive. And for the first wave here, it's basically just a throwback to the first boss fight, except this time I would have to activate the electricity first with this switch, and then I would have to get him to punch it. Almost seems easier than the first one this way. But after getting all 6 of those, it brings on wave 2, where I would have to take out all the enemies underneath him, and then I would get a chance to hit him right in his robot nuts. And after doing that a few times, we finally get wave 3, which is definitely the most annoying, as I would have to somehow pick up these boxes while also dodging missiles and toss them into his head. And after quite a few deaths and misses with the boxes, I would finally get my last hit to beat the game. Okay, give me the box, give me the box. Here's my chance, here's my chance. Boom, and I missed. Oh, no, I hit him. Holy crap. Tears of unfathomable sadness. Let's go. I am not going to enjoy doing the rest of these achievements. This game is not that good. This is just not my type of game. I am not having that much fun at all. And so now this is where the grind comes in, as I would have to go through all 22 levels and complete this list on each. From all the Mega Men collected, to getting a gold for speedrunning every level, to discovering every secret area, to completing the whole game, not only in co-op, but also with every single character character, and even no death runs, which I kinda cheesed my way around. But first up is multiplayer, since it was just a simple run through the game again, and I just had to make sure to drop in at the end of every level with my second controller, which is also where I found out how to cheese past the no dying, since if I dropped in right at the end, it still counted as not dying throughout the level, and it actually marked it off as so too. And honestly, I was perfectly fine with that. I wouldn't usually cheese my way through, but I can't say I enjoy this game enough to put myself through the pain of no death running every single level. In fact, I didn't really enjoy this game at all, to be honest. I had put this off for weeks playing other games just because I did not want to play this game anymore, and I really was not wanting to do this grind, that's for sure. But finding this cheese out saved me and locked me right back in for the completion. And so after making my way through the game for the second time, I would get both my no death run achievement and my multiplayer one. Yes! Respect my authority. There we go. And super fun time. Only 2 or 3 more playthroughs. Yay. But that meant next up, it was time to go through the pain of speedrunning every level for a gold medal. And thankfully, I had actually gotten a bunch of them throughout my 2 playthroughs since I was just rushing through the whole time. But that also meant I only had the hardest ones left to do, such as all of the boss fights. Well, I guess the first one was actually fairly easy considering there was crates I could smash everywhere that would give me a whole bunch of time particles. So as long as I could get the electric part done in time, that one was a breeze. Well, besides the fact that my first run I didn't even get a bronze, but the second time I flew through with plenty of time to spare and got my gold. Now the only level I had trouble with between here and the next boss fight was the towel production facility. I ended up failing it a couple times actually, just because of how difficult it was to get through it fast. But with the use of a lot of secret rooms for all the time particles, I zoomed through like an absolute pro and got my gold there. And so that means it's time for Man Bear Pig now, and this one would take me a good 15 minutes of back-to-back retries since there was no way to collect any time points here. I just had to defeat him by hitting him 3 times within 45 seconds. And well, the RNG here was just stupid. Sometimes he would use a different move first, like these rock throwing down, which would just delay the time they took to do the rush attack and drop a box. Although the easiest way to do it was to jump over him, which just didn't work half the time. So I would have to do this absolutely perfect for all 3 of my hits. There was a couple times I got super close, but damn, this one was difficult and I just couldn't get it. Although here's when I finally got my last run. Yes, it's the run, it's the run. I made it over. It's the run, it's the run. Yes, there we go. 2 seconds short. Now we're on to hell, which was of course hell to get through. Speedrunning through all of this nonsense was brutal. I took way too many dips into the lava. Although there was way more than enough points to go around here, just getting to the end was the only problem I had. But with that gold done, we headed into the Antichrist fight, which also had no time points around, so I would only have 1 minute and 20 seconds to get it down. However, the only difficult portion here was after you get a hit and waiting for them to reset so you can get another one. Well, that and then when they're shooting at you was kind of annoying, but as long as I hovered around the top of the area, I could easily get some good water balloon shots. Basically just spawn trapping them, and only 2 tries in, I had that one done within 1 second of failure. But from there, I just had a couple easy levels to get gold on, which brought me to the Chili Con Carnival again for that super slow boat ride, where right as I was about to finish, I completely fumbled and got reset. Oh my god, I could have had it right there. That would have been it. I just ruined the whole level. And so then I had to redo the whole level over again, so that was annoying, but I definitely wasn't going to lose a second time, so I took it very slowly and finished it off to bring us to the final boss fight once again. Now because this one also has time crates everywhere to destroy, I almost had this one first try, but because of those stupid ass exploding crates, I just barely failed it. But the second run is where everything went perfectly. Well, for the most part anyways. Box throw number 2. Yes, it hit. Come on, no. Oh, no, it still hit. No way, no way, no way. Did I get it? Is that it? Yes, super run time. Yes. Oh my god, those are so annoying. And so all I had to do now was get every collectible and make sure to finish every level with every character. And as for the collectibles, I really don't see how it's possible to find everything without a guide. I mean, the Mega Men are usually just in hidden rooms, but finding every secret area is ridiculous. I mean, they're hidden in the stupidest spots, and without a guide, I would have never found them. Especially when there's some levels that have over 20 of them. They're hidden through crawl spaces or even places where you have to jump to or under under the map or inside a secret room underneath another secret room, then in the corner. It's just terrible. So it was basically just a few hours of non-stop following guide videos and absolutely hating doing so. I was so over this damn game at this point. I had made sure to line up everything to pop all at once when I had finally finished the last level of this egregious grind. Yes! Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny, that's for playing as all 4 on every level. 2 more. Super Adventure Club, there we go. I don't know which one that is, but as long as we get 1 more, we're good. Yes, Ultra Mega Man. Holy crap, what a grind. I hated this game at first, but it kind of grew on me, and I don't know, that was just such a grind. Playing it normally would be fun, but holy crap. So there we go, 100% on both delisted Xbox Arcade South Park games. I really enjoyed the tower defense game, but as for Tenorman's Revenge, I just could not enjoy it. I mean, by the end, I liked the game for what it is, but getting the 100% is a painful drag and something I do not want to do ever again. Although I am happy to have it done. And I see how playing it casually with friends could be fun, but other than that, screw this game. However, we still have some more South Park games to beat, so let me know in the comments which one I should do next. But if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. You can also check out another one of my videos right here. But thank you so much for watching and have a great day.